Welcome, everybody, to the Patty G Show. I am your host, Patty G, here with Cameron Jackson, CEO of Millenial Park here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We're going to be talking sea cans, going to be talking food, maybe some real estate, dabble in that as well, and just all good things, entrepreneurship, and getting out there and making the grind happen. So, Cameron, welcome.
Thank you, man. I'm excited to be here. I've been waiting on this, man. I'm really excited.
Dude, I know.
Great setup.
It's been a long time coming, so I appreciate you taking the time and us finally making this happen to get you on, man. I appreciate that.
I'm excited to be here.
So what is Millenial Park to you?
To me, Millenial Park is like truly everything. To me, it's something I pour my heart into, and it's not finished yet, but we still have a lot more to do. But to me, so kind of when I describe and tell people what Millenial Park is, it's an outdoor shipping container, retail food court mall type of thing, right?
Okay.
So my whole vision of it, so right now a lot of people, they get excited and they love what's going on, but I'm telling them, I'm like, this isn't even 30% complete. Like,
really?
There's going to be a lot more containers. I'll show you pictures later, but I'm going to be stacking them up. I'm going to be stacking them up on top of each other. There'll be a whole second level. So you'll be able to walk around all the way around doing different things that way. So it's a work in progress, but it's like the most important thing in my life. It's like my baby.
Dude, that is pretty awesome. So you're going to be building like a second layer, like double story.
Oh, yeah.
So like everybody can walk everywhere, like basically everything on the ground, but a whole story up.
Will be a whole story up. So I don't know if you've been there, but
I have not
the parking
yet.
lot that I have. So I have two parking lots. Shout out to Baton Rouge General. They ended up giving us the parking lot across the street. So we rent that from them. So we have access to that. So the parking lot that I had to do to get just to open Millenial Park, we're able to cancel that out now. So in that parking lot, I'll be adding containers, about 10 containers in that parking lot, and that'll be like the second level. So all the way to where the building is, you can literally walk up the stairs and walk all the way around the park. There'll be different kind of seating areas, and mainly the second floor will be like retail shops. That's commonly what the second floor will be, just because with all the plumbing and the electricity and things, getting it all on the second level with containers is a little bit different than the building. So we're just trying to find different ways to maneuver around it and do that. So that's mainly going to be retail.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll have a second level, and it's a lot more to do. So hopefully about four months we can start to get that hopefully finished. But I like to speed things up, so we'll see.
I was not aware that. I thought you were like doing the containers and that was it. So knowing that there's a whole nother level about to be brought to this, I'm super pumped to hear about that and even see it happen and come into fruition. So what kind of like retail shops are you going to be doing on the second floor? I know like with a sea can, there's not. It's kind of tricky to walk through with a bunch of people. So is that going to be like outdoor, or is it all still in the works? All
still in the works, kind of. But we're even looking at some options of putting two containers together, giving it a little bit wider space, doing like things like that at the top levels, and also combining them where we're combining like the deck of it. So maybe opening it up on one side to where you can open up the whole side of it, and then it goes and feeds into another container. And it's like you can open both sides, and it comes to like a whole pavilion, and now you're under, combining two. So still working through some things, but it's really, the options are endless on things you can do with the container. So just trying to find best ways. And like you said, so you're not walking in one container, barely walking by each other, but trying to find space. And so different retail shops, like different jewelry stores, clothing, shoes, and this place is like that, really. Yeah.
Dude, I'm loving it. Like you could put them back to back like this and have it open up, so you don't have to pay for a roof. You get them lined up to where they level just right with a little overhang.
Right. Yeah, with an overhang, exactly.
I'm loving
that idea. Latch them up, good to go.
I'm loving that. So what's the story? What's your backstory? Let's go back to like when you were a kid growing up. What kind of a kid were you? Okay,
backstory. So growing up, I was always really into athletics. So always did sports. I was always real social. So just grew up in Pearland, Houston, Texas. Okay. So grew up there. Always was in sports, and my family's always been in entrepreneurship. So growing up, I would always come to Louisiana, and every time I would come to Louisiana, I grew up in Houston. So when I come to Louisiana, I would see my grandpa at his barbershop, at his clubs that he would own, and doing different things like that in the city. So I've always kind of seen it. And even my other grandpa had auto shops and sold cattle and things like that, and had his own thing. So I've always kind of seen it. And so once I went to school, I went to Lutheran South. It is in Houston, Texas. So ended up going to play football at Lutheran, at Liberty University. And then from Liberty University, I went to Coastal Carolina. Okay. So during this time, still the same, still loving sports, still loving life. I was never great in school. My friends would tell you that I was never great in school. I wasn't failing out, but it's just like
Right.
school wasn't my thing. I always wanted to play. Everybody wants to play sports and go to the league and go to the NFL. So it was always like I kind of was stuck up in that. So I always knew I wanted to either go to the league in something. So growing up, I was like, man, I want to go to MLB. I want to go to NFL. I want to do this. I want to do this. So I never even thought about, what school could do for me or what entrepreneurship could do for me. I didn't really know about being an entrepreneur until I was like possibly like ending high school, to be completely honest.
This is what your family did.
It's what my family
this
did.
The norm.
So it was just the norm. Yeah, you open businesses, you make things happen. Like it was just the norm and what I knew. And so I go off to school, I go off to college, things are great. I go play football. I'm finishing football at the coast, at Coastal in Myrtle Beach. Things are going good, but I feel like kind of like, and when you're in a place and you want to do different things, I was in a place where I was like, I don't want to be here any longer. I need to do something different and I need to do something better. So going to school, and I go to Jamaica a lot. Jamaica is my favorite country. My mom has a lot of ties over there. So I go to Jamaica. She helps out different schools and things like that. So I go to Jamaica a couple times and I go one more time after football season. And I see that they're using a shipping container as like a restaurant. And I'm like riding a bus headed to Ochos Rios to go on this waterfall. And so I pass it up and we pass up like 3 or 4 of them. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, that's interesting. Like I've never seen that before, but it's a third world country. So they're just getting the shipping container, cutting a hole in it and they're serving out of it. I'm sure it's super hot, no AC, no electric.
They're making it work though.
They're making it work though. So obviously I'm looking at that and I'm like, wow, that's probably super cheap. I'm about to crack the code. I'm like, I hit my mom up. I'm like, Mom, shipping containers, blah, blah, blah. So I'm talking about shipping containers and I get back to the States. I look it up a little bit more, talk to my parents about it. And it kind of just seemed like just the only route to go, kind of. So I already had the land, let me go back a little bit. My grandpa ended up giving me the land on Florida Boulevard. Ran down, it used to be the barbershop. It was ran down the state, closed it off. There was a lot of things that were going wrong with it. So he ended up giving it to me. I had a snowball stand on it that somebody paid rent for the longest. So I have a sign and a snowball stand. So when I'm in school, I'm getting this rent from this snowball stand and the sign. So I'm loving it. I'm thinking, that's all I can do on the lot. I'm just thinking that's like the world. Okay, and so once I get the idea for the shipping containers and I talk to my parents about it, then it kind of just comes to an idea, where should I do this at? Houston, I always wanted to move back to Houston, so Houston was obviously going to be the perfect place for me. So I was like, oh man, Houston's got to be it. Right. Huge city, let's make it happen, let's go there and do it. But getting land in Houston and having that overhead, it was just something I was really unsure about, and I didn't know how, because I never opened up a business, like a legit business, so I wasn't really sure.
And the property taxes in Texas are out of this world.
Crazy. So wasn't really sure how I was going to do that. And then just kept brainstorming. And I said, wow, I have this land in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in a rundown area, part of town, people love to say. Yeah. But I just saw opportunity there where others didn't. And I kind of picked up my things and literally moved to Louisiana and bought a shipping container. Like that's exactly how it happened. And I go back on the Instagram all the time just to look at like how far things have come, and I'll go back and there was just a shipping container sitting on a lot. Like that was where I started. Like there was I didn't even know how to get an LLC. It was just buy this shipping container and I'm going to open up a shipping container park, or I'm going to open up a shipping container restaurant.
Right.
So
something's happened with shipping
containers. Something's happening with a shipping container, and not only with one, this one. So right. And so I get hype. I'm getting so hype, and it's crazy because now I'm looking back, I'm really laughing. Because I get so hype, I buy that container, right? I paint it red. I'm hype about it. I'm like, yes, it's awesome. One step closer. I buy another container a couple weeks later, and I paint that one green.
I'm just
buying containers, right?
And you're just putting them on the lot.
I'm putting them on the lot because I think that's what it takes, and I think that's what it is.
You got to have something. You got to have a presence. Something's got to be there.
Foundation. You got to have something right? So the city, it takes 6 months to get permits. I wasn't prepared for all that. So I'm getting discouraged, and I really had to go deep into myself and be like, you have to make this happen. You've talked too much. You got to make this happen.
You put it on Instagram. It's official now.
No,
it's official.
No, for real. And with me, especially with my friends and things like that, like once you do something like that, you can't just back out. People say, hey, what happened with them containers? He's nothing.
Everyone's like, wait, are you like a lay down yard for trucks just dropping containers off?
Right. So I get the other container. I'm going through the permitting process, and things start picking up. I start meeting the right people, and I start doing the right things, and I learn the process, and it's been a crazy journey, but that's kind of how I started with the shipping containers, and that's how they got on the lot, and that's how I got the land. So my grandpa gave me the land, just started buying shipping containers, and really just like found my way.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of, I want to get in kind of the permit process, not the length. Everybody knows it takes a very long time, but how do you go about permitting? Is it just like a normal restaurant permit, or you say, hey, I've got 12 containers, I need 12 restaurant permits? Like, What do you do?
And it was so difficult because they had no clue either. Right. So I'm going into the permit office and I'm saying, okay, it's not a building necessarily, but it's not a food truck.
Right.
So it's like, it was really hard. So going in there trying to describe everything what it was and telling me it was a shipping container. They're like, how are you using a shipping container? They're like, what are you talking about? Like, is that even safe?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I'm like, look, don't worry about it. Just know I just need these permits basically. So through that process was really hard because every time you go in a permit office, you have to explain to someone what it is, how you're doing it, why you're doing it. And it was just really hard. And, you know, doing things by yourself, especially, and you don't have any connections. I'm moving back to the city where I did have a lot of family here and things like that, but not connections that I really needed to make. So, you know, it was a long process, and that process was hard just because no one really knew what it was or what to call it. And then we ended up, you know, getting things squared away and kind of explaining a little bit better once we met. Shout out Lamont Cole. Got to say that Lamont Cole helped us a lot during that process and really was able to help them understand what was going on and just kind of just make everything a little bit easier.
Yeah, I mean, because how do you find somebody who knows how to retrofit a shipping container?
You don't, unless you call Drew Brees, because
really, hold
small
on.
sliders over there by LSU.
Yes.
So he was the only other person in Louisiana that had the containers used as something else. But Small Sliders is just one restaurant. It's like a bunch of containers, and it's
it's designed. Yeah, I still have yet. I've got so many places I need to go eat. I've not made it out there.
Yeah.
So I got to hit up y'all and Smalls. But yeah, they've got like the shipping container design and layout and structure. Without through the whole restaurant.
Right. So Drew Brees did that, and so unless I could call him up and get information from him and his contractors, it just was impossible. So, and it's funny because right when I got here, that's when he started opening up. Like right when I got my container, he started opening up Small Sliders. And I was like, wow, I wonder how long it's going to take him to get it up. I go through my little 6 months or whatever, turn back around, Small Sliders is open and ready. I'm like, I haven't even got electricity in mine yet. So that was another thing. I was like, wow, you got to really push through and you got to really make it happen. So, so I really didn't have any guidance like that. So no one knew how to build out a container. No one knew how to insulate a container. No one knew how to do anything. No one knew how to cut a container. So they already didn't even know how they were going to cut it. So, but now going through all the steps, I don't want to give all the secrets, but there's a lot of easier ways you can cut it. But we were out there welding it, getting it cut, getting people to come out and do all that. And it got expensive, and it got, doing a lot of things that I didn't need to do or didn't have to do. And it cost me, but I learned at the end of the day. And now everything is just so much easier and it's coming together. So now you want to build a container out, I'm the guy to see. I'm the guy.
Now you got the whole system down.
I got a whole system. I got a whole construction company now, Millennial Innovation, that I'm about to drop soon, where we'll be doing all kinds of build outs. Because a lot of people come to me now and they want to do houses and apartment complexes. And so now I'm just going to come up with I have a team that I'm going to be doing a lot of renovations and building out and things like that.
Dude, I love that about you. It's like you have a problem. Instead of trying to call and wait around to find somebody else to fix it, you're like, nah, get two buddies. Let's go down there and let's just start doing it ourselves.
No, seriously. And you can ask any of my friends that is too. It's funny because they say the same thing. And that's how it is. Like, I'll just rather get my friends or find out how to do it myself. There's plenty of long days and nights where I learned how to use the excavator just by renting one at Home Depot, putting it on my lot and turning it on and just like messing with it. And like digging holes. I'm out there digging holes, with excavators. I'm out there. I have a Jeep, right? I have no way to move my containers. So it's either rent a Bobcat. I have an out-of-state license. So you can't rent a Bobcat unless you're about to pay basically the full fee of the Bobcat just in case any damages. It makes sense. Man, I was like, screw that. I got my Jeep, latched it onto them containers, and I had my Jeep pushing around every single container into its place as you see right now. So there's things like that. Yeah, like I was hands-on the entire time. It wasn't like I paid someone to do every single thing. It was like I'm in there painting the walls. I'm in there digging these holes. I'm in there. Everything that I could do, I did. And everything I couldn't do, which is like, I even learned plumbing, actually. So other than the plumbing and electricity, but I learned plumbing a little bit. Electricity, I'm a little nervous about that.
Dude, you and me both. I grew up in the plumbing industry. I can do plumbing all day, but those don't mix. Water and electricity,
so I
they don't mix.
Pay somebody to do the electricity, but everything else was, a work in progress and really just trying to make it happen myself. Because I like to say, I did that. Like, I don't like to it's too easy to pay somebody, a ton of money to go and open it up, and it's just not the same. It's not. I don't know.
Right. When you have a better appreciation for it.
That's true.
When you're out there wiring everything, you're running the plumbing, and there's nothing wrong with people that pay to have it done. By no means is there anything wrong with paying to have it done.
I might take that route next time. Let's not.
Right. Exactly. For floor 2, you might bring somebody.
For floor 2, I'm gonna definitely be doing that. I won't be out there doing beams and things like that.
Yeah, but it's learning that and being hands on. you build those memories and you learn skills. I mean, you learn skills that you didn't have beforehand.
No, that's very true.
Unless you're out there running P-traps and getting slopes on pipes and everything, it wasn't a skill you had before, but you had to acquire it and you had to learn it and craft it to build what you're doing. And that to me is just amazing to see somebody going out there and like being all hands on, not showing up and saying, hey, this needs to get moved here, hey, that. No, be like, oh, guys, hang on, hook the Jeep up. It's got to back up 6 inches.
6 inches. We got to move it now. Let's make it happen. From football showroom classroom to this, literally no instructional sheet, nothing. But you got to make it happen. Dude. At the end of the day, and one thing that was really that really hit me. So my mom, we were talking about her earlier.
Yeah.
My mom is on me hard always. She's a mom, so it's just how it is. So my mom's on me and my dad hard always, and it came to a point where I was just like really discouraged, and I understood because I was trying to get my dad, I think it was my dad or somebody else. I was leaning on other people at the beginning of the process to do too much, and it discouraged me because things weren't happening fast enough and things weren't getting done the right way.
Right.
So once I literally sat in my room and I came to realize like with myself, I was like, you have to do this yourself. Like you can't, my dad's a great person, but I can't put 5 things on my dad and expect them to be done. You know what I mean? Like, There's things that I could be doing, or there's things that he doesn't know how to do, or there's things you just have to put it on yourself. And once I truly put everything on myself, and I was like, look, this isn't going to happen unless you make it happen. Dude, once 100%. That day, and then it was just kind of like,
and then stuff starts rolling. Boom. I mean, I find a lot of people, I mean, not a lot of people, but when people talk to business owners or CEOs or founders and their employees, they're like, well, man, why are you, when people say, oh, why are the employees getting paid so little, or why are they doing this, and the CEOs out there doing great things, like, because they didn't see the 10 years and all the effort that you put in to build it, and everything's riding on you. If your dad doesn't do it, if your mom doesn't do it, it's still you. It's still on you at the end of the day. And so it's okay, you've got to shoulder all this, you've got to do everything, and you've got to run with it. You can't just rely on everybody else to handle it.
No, exactly. And once I really, got that into my head, it was almost like night and day.
Yeah.
It was just like night and day. It was just ridiculous. It's crazy. Because just growing up, it was like, not that I'd never had to do anything, but, it was easier.
Yeah.
So, living in Pearland, Texas, nice area, you didn't have to do as much. My parents worked really hard to make sure that they gave us everything that they didn't have. So, I hate to say life was pretty easy growing up, but it was. And so going from that and then having to do everything yourself is kind of just like, and that's why I started telling people, trying to have my dad and my mom do a lot of things. And then you realize you're like, you can't do that. This is life. Like, this is legit. Like, if you really want to make this pop and do what you want to do, you have to take that initiative. And then even now, my mom, she knows that this is my baby. And she's like, look, I know this is your baby, but a suggestion. I'm like, yeah, I'll take suggestions. But you don't run this.
Don't walk out there and give me the classic.
Yeah.
The looks like, you can do this, do that. Like, hold on.
She did that for months.
Here's a box. It's called suggestion box.
Careful,
there's a rat trap in the bottom.
I'll talk to my assistant, literally. Yeah. That's so funny. Tell her that she hates it.
But it's a sense of also like, kind of like your pride in your character. Like, no, I did this. Mm-hmm. Like, not like, no, nobody held my hand through the whole process. Right, and you sit back and you look on and you're like, oh, wow, I made this. This is awesome, what I made. And then people have a better appreciation for you and respectable to you. It's like, dude, you did it. You're the man. Like, you didn't sit here and have everybody else out here doing it all for you. You were here doing it.
Right.
So who is all in Millenial Park now?
So Memphis Mac.
Yeah, had Carlos on. Yes.
Carlos is he's in. His container is 85% done. It's almost done. It's a few finishing touches, but Carlos, Memphis Mac is in Millenial Park. We have Royal Taste of Jamaica, Jamaican cuisine, shrimp curry, jerk chicken, everything is so good. It tastes just like Jamaica. We have jive turkey, smoked turkey legs, smoked wings, loaded French fries, things like that. Everything turkey. I'm going to be doing turkey next and bring a lot of different things coming soon. And we also have, that's everybody who's built out right now, but I'm building out 5 containers currently.
Okay.
So we have 2 bars. One's a daiquiri bar. One will be just a regular bar in a 40-foot container. Mm-hmm. We have the Ape Shakes, the milkshake place. We have 32 Degrees, which will be snowballs and we have green acres, which would be pastas and salads and things like that.
Okay, so you're like covering all the bases.
Right.
There.
I want to hit everything. I want to have a taco place, sushi. So you have no excuse to why you can't come. Like there's gonna be no excuse. You're gonna say, right. I don't like this. I'm vegan. Well, come on. We got a vegan restaurant.
We got vegan menu.
We got vegan menu. We got this. We got tacos. We got sushi. I want to hit every single cylinder.
Oh, yeah. And you've got like the ideal COVID setup.
Outdoors.
You walk up, order, and everybody goes sit at their own tables away from everybody else. No interaction, no nothing.
Which is hilarious because before everything was happening, you know, everyone, what about it being outside and the weather is going to be too hot in Louisiana, blah, blah, blah. COVID hits. Now everybody's like, we have to be outside. They're like, we got to go to Millenial Park. It's outside so we can sit out. And it's just crazy how things, you know, how things happen and turn around. But outside, we are adding a few indoor elements. So some containers on the second level will be just seating.
Gotcha.
With TVs and things like that, just to help the elements. You know, it is hot, so you know you want to be able to get into some AC and things every now and then. And you know, older people. My grandpa likes to sit in AC, so I got to have some AC there. So we will have some inside portions. You know, it won't all be outside, but mainly, you know, it'll be outdoors.
Yeah. Well, and then once you build that second story and you've got all that walkway on top, you can just hang some big fans and then push some air in there. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's what they do in big old arenas and everything. I know Carl can attest to that with all the farm stuff he sees, those big fans that they got turning in there.
Huge fans.
Yeah. So, but you don't only do Millenial Park, right? There's some other things that you do in the background that I want to get into as well. Right. From what I'm aware of, you've also got a T-shirt line.
Yeah, I actually do have a clothing line.
It's clothing line,
workout fitness clothing line. Yeah.
Yes, and you have a podcast. Episode 13 just came out this week or today.
I think 14 came out today. Yeah, 14. We just did a podcast. One of my friends who has like the top upcoming business in Houston right now, solar power. So we just did that with him today. And I also do real estate.
Yes.
Yeah. I also do real estate, different kind of Section 8 housing. And for like battered women, I have houses that they stay in and do things like that. I actually just purchased 2 properties today. Actually. Yeah.
Nice. Where at?
One
if it can be disclosed.
Actually, it can be disclosed. One is actually kind of right behind Millenial Park on North Street, North Boulevard. So it's like right behind Millenial Park. Nice commercial property, and then another part is in like South Louisiana, South Baton Rouge. I mean, and it's just a vacant lot. But my plans are future plans. Part 2 coming soon. So the lot on North will actually be like an extension of Millenial Park. So a lot of people don't notice, but in that area on Florida Boulevard, there's nowhere you can get fresh fruit anywhere. Okay. So kind of to offer a fresh fruit, I'm going to be doing some containers, and I'll have them kind of open, but it'll be a fresh fruit market since no one there can get fresh fruit anywhere in the area. Be mainly like a fresh fruit market, healthier options type of like Millenial Park. I'm doing that with my mom. Okay. So it's something that she really wanted to do for the area and the community. So we're doing that. But Millenial Park 2 will be coming soon. I have not decided on a destination, but definitely somewhere in Louisiana.
Gotcha.
Definitely somewhere in Louisiana.
So I want to go to and kind of dissect each 3 of those different layers that you've got. So let's go to first the fitness line. Yeah, is it athleisure wear, athletic wear?
Yes.
What is it?
So it's athletic wear, and I actually started this brand because when I was playing football, you couldn't take supplements because, you know, they were banned by the NCAA. So I was like, I want to work out. I love working out. I was like, I want to make some supplements that I can just take and that my friends can take. So ended up just making it and gave it to my team. They loved it. And ended up just really, it started off as just the protein. Like it wasn't even the protein powder and the pre-workout. And so then Hoop, actually, I threw it on a shirt and he liked it and I liked it. And we kind of just started making clothing and it just jumped off like that. And then next thing you look up and it's like everybody's got a Gorilla Gang shirt on. And it was cool for, you know, while we were in school, that's how I started that. So I started in college and it's still on. It's still going, but I'm going to relaunch it and get things bigger with it and get back on it when I have a little bit more time. But I've been so involved in Millenial Park. It's just like,
oh yeah, I mean, you still building out sea cans.
Yeah, I'm still like every day it's something different with that. So it's just like I can't even really get into it like I really want because I like to put my all in things and until I can give somebody, you know, the page to take over, it's going to be something else. But yeah, it's got the whole Gorilla Gang clothing line, and my dad actually like helped me start that. Yeah.
Okay, so how? Because I did a lifestyle brand a couple years back. Okay. So what was it like, kind of going through that, building the brand, and sourcing vendors? Because that's not an easy task either.
It's not an easy task, and it's funny that you say that. Okay, so Kendra can attest. So I'm talking. So we get. I guess I can tell. I'll tell the secrets. So we get to Coastal and we're selling the shirts. People want the shirts, but at this point, I'm getting the shirts from a third party, and they're charging like $15 a shirt. It's just ridiculous. And I like hooking my friends up. I like giving people free things, you know, because at the end of the day, that's really what gets your brand going in a sense of clothing, especially at a school. You know, there's a bunch of college kids. You're not just going to be getting all these purchases. So
hey, buy the shirt. Whoa,
buy the shirt.
Man, I got to buy lunch.
I got to buy lunch and I got to go get drunk tonight. That's where that's all Coastal's talking about, right? So they didn't want to do that. Not that they didn't want to do it, but it was just not as supportive. So we had to find a way to get our costs down. So get linked up with a friend, and he shows us how to basically make the shirts at my house. So I'm getting the shirts for super cheap, and I have this machine that I'm cutting out everything, and I'm printing it, and I'm pressing it. So we're at my house doing it.
Screen printing or vinyl pressing?
Vinyl pressing.
Oh.
Yeah, vinyl pressing for the longest. Yeah, we weren't even screen printing yet. So we're vinyl pressing in my house in Fairways at Coastal. So just me and him know about the operation. We're in there vinyl pressing. I'm talking, we were missing class. We were vinyl pressing so much.
Hey,
so
gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly. Right. So we're getting the shirts out, and that's just how we could get the shirts out in bulk, cheap. You know, we were selling shirts for $10, $5 to people, just so everywhere we went, we could see this shirt. Mm-hmm. So we knew it was working. So that's kind of how we scaled and got big as we did during the school time. We were getting the shirts for way, way, way cheaper, and we were able to hook people up, give them out, and we had literally everyone I was going everywhere. Like people didn't even know me, and they had the shirts on, the wristbands. It was crazy. We were throwing parties, and to get in, you have to get one of the wristbands. So everyone in the party's got a Gorilla Gang wristband on, and that just like simple things like that. Dude. We were doing every single time you look up in a classroom, you'd have either a flyer on your desk or on your chair. Like we even after football practice, I'd link up with Hoop. We'd get together on campus, and we'd literally walk around almost every single classroom and put a flyer in almost every single seat, every single chair, every single desk, and just everywhere. Boards. Teachers hated us. People like, even one of my teachers, he made a comment while we were in class. He was like, I don't want to be taking a pee and I look up and seeing Cam's face, right in front of the urinal. But it was just like, that's just how you got to do what you got to do.
Hey, you were guerrilla marketing your guerrilla brand.
Yeah, the guerrilla brand. Right. We definitely did that. So we were taking over, everywhere. So we were putting them every single place. And that's kind of how we got that going and kind of how we started that. Yeah.
Dude, that's for any type of clothing brand or anything, you have to get in front of people. Mm-hmm. If you're not in front of people, your brand's useless.
Exactly. They got to be wearing your stuff, and people got to see it,
Yeah.
Right.
If I see you wearing it, or I see Carl wearing it, or somebody else wearing it, I'm like, oh, I want that shirt. Mm-hmm. But if I don't see it, and I'm like, what is? I see it online. I'm like, what is?
You're not just gonna buy it. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we had to really get to. And once we realized that and how people were and saw, you can't just drop a clothing line and expect people to buy it. Mm-hmm. I understand the support and everything like that, but a lot of people like to drop a clothing line and sell shirts for $35, $50 to their friends, and it's like, yeah, you want that support, but you gotta meet them halfway.
Yeah.
So
at least sell them at cost.
At least.
Say, hey, look, I paid $5 for the shirt. Can you pay me $5 to cover my cost?
Yeah. Or
come on. Or
just 10. Come on.
Just something.
Be real.
Something to help me get the brand started.
Right.
And so you got to have that community to get the brand started. And just hearing you just go to classroom to classroom, I think that's hilarious, and I love it.
I'm talking. We had thousands of flyers, and I'm talking classroom to classroom. It's so funny because people were posting on their stories and sending us Snapchats and videos all day for like a week. Like, man, we got the flyer, blah, blah, blah. It was just hilarious. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. And honestly, it really benefited at the same time. And it was funny because regardless, and what thing that we really saw was like, regardless if you like it or not, you are going to know what it is. Yeah. So you're going to see the shirt and you're going to know what it's for or who they represent. But it's better to have that than nobody know about your brand. So it was like, hey, you're going to hate it or you're going to love it.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
You're going to know who I am one way or the other.
Whether
you buy it or
you're going to sit on this flyer in your classroom.
That's right. I'm going to start sticking them in your cars. Start sticking them on the windshield.
Oh, we did that as well. We ain't going to talk about that. We did that a couple times.
Allegedly. So now I want to move into the podcast. You have a podcast.
Yeah, we have a podcast, and we started that. When did we start that? I don't know when we started the podcast. Maybe but it was kind of like a random. Right when I started Millenial Park, we started podcast because a lot of people always ask me, how I'm doing things and, things what I'm doing. And I try to give as much knowledge as possible to my people because I just wish that I had that. I wish I had somebody I could ask and, get advice from and things like that. So we started the podcast, the Free Value Podcast, and it's been going well. We got a little bit busy, but that's no excuse. We got to come out with a lot more episodes, but it's been going good. We're getting a lot of feedback and a lot of good things, and It's been all right.
Yeah, podcasts are, like we were talking before, is a way you can market the brand or market just something that you're trying to get out there, market yourself, hey, here's stories that people are telling about how they got from where they are and where they're going. And even that can bring value to people. So what's your setup? I want to get geeky with it. What's your setup like you're working with?
The setup isn't even super crazy right now. I actually have to get another mic, but we're in the process of doing that. So Hoop is actually going to be moving out here pretty soon. And so once he does that, we're going to get a room in my house and we're going to completely deck it out. You've set the tone. So believe we're going to have to do something similar and have you on the show as well.
Dude, I'm in, man. Anytime you want me to come on, I'm there,
say
man.
Say no more. Let's get it set up first. I can't have you come in and we just got a mic.
Hey,
so I got to get set up.
I started with an iPhone, man. I started with an iPhone. I recorded my first 2 episodes with iPhones.
Yeah.
So you just start it and you just do it.
You have to.
I mean, anybody want to start anything, they get held back by come and see a setup that has evolved into this, or going to see other people's setup and hearing them, talk about their gear and their stuff for podcasts and anything in particular. But you don't have to start there. Everybody's at a different place in life. Everybody's at a different level. You start where you can. I mean, I started my very first podcast was on an iPhone that I held up to my face and started talking. It's no excuse to say I don't have all this gear. I can't get these mics or I can't do this. It doesn't matter. If you just start somewhere, you figure it out along the way.
You're going to, and it's really like an excuse. A lot of people like to throw to themselves,
Yeah.
I don't have this and I don't have that, but it's like you have to make it work.
Yeah. What do you
have? And let's make it work from there. I had land and I had somewhere I could buy a container from. That's all I had.
That's actually a pretty good connection to have.
I had somewhere I could buy a container from. Bought the container, a little overpriced for my first one, but bought the container and went from there. And people, they talk themselves out of a lot of things. And if you start off like that, I can't do this, then you've already lost. You have to say, how can I make it work? Or how can I get the information that I need to make this work? And how can I talk to the person that's doing it? How can I see how they're doing it? And different things like that.
And you learn from other people's stories. I learn more from somebody's failure than from their success.
Right.
Because when we do something, it's like in school, when you read a book, you read a textbook, it's the perfect scenario. Everything is perfectly laid out.
Perfect.
But in the real world, it's not. Nothing's perfectly laid out. So hearing you say, overpaid for my first sea can, it's like, okay. I'm talking about price, research price. That's what that tells me.
Research price, research a lot more things. Even like a simple, I don't want to get into all my screw ups, but even a simple fact of just like getting the, plumbing.
Yeah.
Doing the plumbing before the concrete's laid. That could have helped save me a lot of money, right?
Wait, so you poured the slab first?
Poured the slab. I said, screw it. Pour the slab. We can throw the plumbing through the back some way, just because it was a container and I feel like it was going to be high enough. And I got some information on somebody who wasn't even knowledgeable, and it went from there. Really, that's all it was.
Yeah.
So you live and you learn. And then once they poured the slab and I put the containers on the slab, they're like, you should have. Now we're gonna have to bust out concrete and we're gonna have to do this. And I'm like, crap. That's kind of. I was just looking like. That whole day was just horrible for me, actually. Now that I'm really thinking about it, I remember like how I felt that day. I was just like, and anytime anything, like I had to really be in my mind in my mental and be strong because like anytime anything bad like that happened, like it was just so devastating. It was just like, this just set me back.
Throwing the towel.
Yeah. Like not even throwing in the towel, but just like, how am I going to overcome this? Like, I just screwed up big time. How am I going to overcome this? Like, is it even possible?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So then I had to just buy a toilet that would be able to push everything out and just make it work and get the drains.
You had to buy a wall mount toilet and make it work. Right. So, that's something I went through and getting discouraged is just something that's just a part of the process and you got to be ready for that. Yeah, as an entrepreneur or anybody who wants to start something, even if it's a craft or a hobby. I mean, my wife's outside stripping some furniture. It's something that's different, and you got to go to it. And if something goes wrong, you got to figure out how to fix it along the way.
Have to.
I mean, for somebody like, for example, somebody want to start a podcast and they say, I don't have any good mics. And even if they don't have an iPhone, find a guest who's got an iPhone and ask them to record it for you. And then somehow get it on go to the library or somewhere and get on a computer, download free software and make it happen.
There's ways.
There's always ways to make it work. But if you keep finding roadblocks and you keep finding those no's, you're never going to get anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And then you're going to be stuck and then you're going to be sitting there going, oh, what if? Oh, what if? Oh, what if? That doesn't sound like anything that you did. No, you just had to push through everything.
Like you said, I posted on Instagram. I couldn't go back.
Yeah, it's there. It's there. It's
once
public.
It was posted and it was like, yo, what are you doing? I'm doing this. And that mood, you have to do it. You can't. And that's one thing that really kept me going. It was just like failing at something is just something I hate, So finding a way is just something that you have always had to press myself forward to do and try to overcome.
Yeah, and failure is a part of that, though.
Failure is a part of that. Failure, it definitely is. And I failed at, plenty of things as well, just trying to do a lot of things. How Millenial Park looks right now, I think it should be done by now. Yeah. Well, let's not talk about all the failures and how it looks now, but it should be done. Let's just say that.
Yeah, but it's getting there at a pace that's moderate and a pace that's going to be, in the long run, the right pace. Mm-hmm. So on to the real estate side of things. You just said, like I said, I just purchased two buildings. So how'd you get into real estate? I
got into real estate with my mom, actually. So my mom's been doing real estate for a long time. She saw her parents doing real estate from a young age and inquired about it really young and got into it in her 30s. She said she started a little bit late, but she started in her 30s. And my mom has a few properties, and she's just really big on generational wealth. And so she really instilled that into me and said, it's about what you own. You got to own things, you got to get property, and you have to make things happen. And she instilled that into me. And then so once I got a little bit of money, I was in school at this time, and we had a house. My first house that I got was actually on 38th Street in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We collabed and came together, and she wanted to get a house and kind of just teach me step to step how everything was going. And I said, let me know how much money I need to bring forward. And she did, and gave it to her, and then we just went. And we went in on that deal, and then we went in on another deal, and we went in on another deal. And that's kind of like how me and my mom, do everything. So me and my mom do real estate, and then me and my dad kind of have, Millenial Park. So he's like my CFO, my COO, and he kind of does all the operations and everything with that, helps me with that. My mom helps me with real estate. So the houses and the properties that I got today, we'll be doing things with them. And she's really huge on giving back to the community, and I am as well. So giving back to the community and doing things for that. So us purchasing these lots, we want to get a lot of lots, vacant lots and things like that throughout Baton Rouge, so we can put on affordable housing with containers, affordable housing, Section 8 housing, battered, beaten wives, older people, just everyone. We want anybody that's in need kind of just have some kind of housing and some kind of development to help them. So with the fresh market, bringing the fresh fruit to an area that has no fresh fruit would be something huge. Bringing different kind of housing in areas that no one's building new houses, no new developments are happening. So just doing like that and really just bringing Baton Rouge back alive. So that's kind of how I got into it, and I've stayed into it. I love it, and it's going well.
Yeah, really,
I plan on getting a lot more.
Yeah, that's something I want to get into as well, as the real estate area and starting to grow, and like you said, build those assets.
Yes, exactly.
And build those that are there for the long term and not just for the short term.
Exactly.
If the stock market crashes and everything goes bad, you still own that land. Mm-hmm. You still own that building. That building is still there. Unless it burns down, it's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so doing that, and you're almost kind of just wanting to better the community as a whole.
Exactly.
In every way that you go.
And I've seen that a lot, and people have, I get a lot of comments all the time. Wow, what you're doing for the community is so big. And I never really just understood that until as of recent, when I really just took everything in, because I still haven't taken all of Millenial Park in. I literally go there almost, it's once or twice a week. I'll pull up with my dad, and I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, I can't believe we did this. This really happened. I'm still in awe and in shock. So it's just now it's all coming. Now I'm like, how can I help the community even more? Okay, bringing new things in, new food, to the area that didn't have it, and new things and new developments. But it's how can I help the community even more? What can I do? So I even gotten partnered with Tremel Howard on the school board. He's the vice president of the school board in Baton Rouge. So I'll be doing a school drive soon for all the kids going back to school. I'll be doing a fresh market with Baton Rouge General. We'll be collabing on some things as well, and doing some things for the community. So we're just constantly trying to find new ways that we can just help Baton Rouge in general, because you don't want to just take from the community. That's my biggest thing. You don't want to take all these dollars from the community and not give back. Yeah. So it's the easiest thing to do is give back. Y'all already coming and spending your money at Millenial Park every day. Why can't I, do things and have school drives and give food to the homeless and feed the homeless and do things like that? So I try to do that, often,
Right. And that's seeing that as a consumer. It just makes you have so much more respect for the owner of the establishment. Right. Seeing going, oh my gosh, we're going to Millenial Park, we're spending all this money on food all the time, but he just bought this lot, look what he's doing here. He just bought this, look what he's doing here. He's building the community up one small step at a time. Of course, I'm going to support him. It becomes a no-brainer as a consumer. Absolutely, I'm going to go there, I'm going to eat there, I'm going to do what I can to help you because of everything you're doing to give back to the community. Right. And it's powerful.
It's huge. Yeah, you're right. And it's just, that's just where we're at. I'm just trying to do, you know, whatever I can to help the community. And a lot of people just, it sounds crazy, but it's like, I don't know.
It sounds crazy, like, oh, you're going to be doing something without the expectation of getting something in return.
Right.
But you're like, well, yeah, but I've also got, you know, Millenial Park that's kind of helping fuel this. You know, I've got these other things fuel my passion to build the community stronger.
And that's what the whole thing is as well, you know, and I try to do a lot of different things with, you know, we've had a drive-in movie night, you know, just things that since COVID knocked a lot of things out, my whole thing was like, okay, how can I bring the community back together and get people out and feel comfortable, but be safe at the same time? So you can stay in your car and you can watch the drive-in movie. Another thing I was doing that I feel like that was really beneficial and we will continue to do as well was I have vendors come out. So, you know, one thing really what Millenial Park was I really wanted to do was in order to get all the containers or to get small mom pop shops to be able to, for a cheap, you know, amount to be able to bring their business into something and make it whatever their dreams want them to make it, you know? So make it a cheap option for them and do that. And so one way we do that as well is I have vendors come out, you know, every other week almost, you know, the vendors, about 20 to 30 vendors and small businesses come out and a ton of people come and you can just put everything out and sell your stuff and just get out there and it just helps. And this is something good because I wish, you know, when we were doing Guerrilla Gang and things like that, we had places like that we could go to as well and just to get the brand out because those little things, you never know, one person that they can meet that day could be, you know, that, you know, boost their whole company up. So it's just, you just never really know. So I try to give everybody opportunities and just do a lot of different things with Millenial Park just to bring everybody in the hall. Yeah,
it's understanding what you have and how powerful it is to help others is huge. Because some people, they understand what they have, but they may not be able to see what it can benefit others and how they can capitalize on that. You know, and saying, hey, let's do a vendor's market. You know, let's have a market and have people come out like you're doing. Well, for you, that's great because it's giving people the space to come out, drawing a crowd. People can go there, but in turn, you're also supporting the small pop-up shops. You're supporting all your vendors that are in your market.
Exactly.
Because you've got the land. Because the land has the value of being a space for people to go to and flock to that not everybody has.
Exactly.
So I do want to ask the question, what are 2 or 3 of your biggest failures that turn into the greatest lessons?
2 or 3 of my biggest failures that turned into the greatest lessons.
Yeah, or just a failure that turned out to be a great lesson in the long run, but at the time was just devastating.
I will say I can't go too into depth in it, but I will say when I was at my first school, when I left high school, and like I told you, I had a lot of things that growing up, life was easy. So it was like you always had things given to you. You always, things were easy. So I was really taking a lot of things for granted, I'd say. I took a lot of things for granted. It was, I'd get change at Chipotle. I'd have 50 cents in my hand. I'd throw it on the ground. Like, just taking for granted of just simple things. And that sounds like something small or dumb, but that's kind of like an example I can think of because I can picture myself doing that younger me and just taking advantage of just my time and what I have in front of me was something that really changed my life. So I was taking advantage of the situation I was at. I'm on full scholarship. I'm living a life. Like, what's better than going to school for free? Your family's proud. Everybody's loving it. And I took for granted of my situation and everything that happened and ended up having to leave that school and go to a different school. And that moment kind of between that time is when I realized like that failure. And it wasn't even like a failure because I didn't do anything wrong. Right. But it was in the sense of, it was almost like just God speaking to me and was like, look, I'm gonna take you out of this situation and to show you that you're not invincible and that you do need to, take a lot more things into account and be more appreciative of things you have. And so once I kind of realized that, I got back into my situation, went back to school and kind of got everything right. And that's when even when I went to Coastal and I got my head back on, I wasn't trying to take things for granted. Who can probably be attest to where there's times where I just always want to do, like Guerrilla Gang, for instance. That was like I didn't want to take things for granted. I want to start something. I want to try new things and I want to really work and I want to grind for something. Mm-hmm. So that was like the biggest thing that I feel like that failure from leaving that school had taught me was you got to, care for your loved ones. You can't take anyone for granted. You can't take any situation for granted because that situation can be taken from you as way faster than you got it. Right. One day you're on top of the world. Things are going great. and you're about to play Virginia Tech starting, and then the next day your life changes, So things just happen, and you just have to kind of just keep a steady head and rely on the people that love you and stay with God and just trust them.
So
that's like the biggest failure I could think of. But other than, recently, it's just kind of just been like small failures that have kind of just got me back on point, you know. So I might slip up and get into, I'll get too hype. I get hype and I get into the moment, it's easy to hype me up.
I can feel that.
Right. So it's easy to hype me up and I get excited, and small things happen, like you'll do something and you just escape by that much.
Yeah.
Get back down to where you were, and that happens constantly. And so things like that is always kind of just bring me back to level. And I've been a lot, better with it lately, especially after just everything going on, and being in a public light has changed a lot. I can't even go to Walmart now without someone say, "Hey, you got a guy with Millenial Park," and it's like, I probably should have worn my hat. You probably see the blonde hair, and that's probably what it is.
It's the look,
but, and you got to change, and that's one thing as well, because, and I haven't been taking things for granted as well, because I understand the situation I'm in, and I understand how people have come to me in Baton Rouge and told me how big this really is for the city, and what I'm doing is really huge, and you kind of sit back and you're like, wow, like you're being put in this position to make a change, to do big things. You have to not take advantage of it, but you need to use this the right way.
Right.
You need to use this the right way and do the right things with it. And I'm constantly reminded of that. Every time I'm on a news, and every time I'm on a news segment or have an interview, I truly, I love it. And it just makes me want to give back to the community and do what else can I do for somebody else now? Mm-hmm. Almost. So it's just like, it's been a long ride. Just to kind of wrap that little.
Yeah, a long ride that's not even close to being over. So to kind of start wrapping up the show, what is something you would do today that you did as a kid, or what is something you did as a kid that you would do today if no one stopped you?
Well, something I could do as a kid today if no one stopped me. Maybe playing baseball.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say playing baseball.
Playing baseball?
I kind of miss playing baseball. Yeah, I like playing baseball a lot.
Yeah? What attracts you to baseball?
Just kind of like the freedom you get. So the difference, playing football and baseball are just so different, because you could be in your position, you could be in the outfield, and you're kind of like in your own zone. You could focus up, you could get unfocused, you could be in your own zone doing your own thing. But, in football, it's like, you have to be on point at all times.
Right.
If you miss one guard pulling, you just lost. You got a receiver behind your head because you just took a step. So it was kind of like a slower game, and I really enjoyed it more than I did football, because football was like, you get to hit people, and, it's flashy, a lot of big plays and things are cool. But baseball, I just felt like it was just where you could get away, be with yourself, and just really be in your own head and just making things happen, because everything's quiet until something pop off.
That's right.
It's
a boring game until
some action happens.
So you hear a crack of a bat.
Right. So I used to try to make a little bit of action happen, and you get that, and then you get excited. So I'd say baseball. Baseball.
I love it, man. I love it. So what are 3 lessons that you would tell somebody that you learned along the way that are just starting out?
3 lessons that I learned along the way just starting out. So I would say the lesson of you need a team. You need a team. Regardless of what it is, you need a team to do something, because there's always other people that could help you. And it's just a team stronger than one person. A pack of wolves is stronger than one wolf. So I would say get you a team, a good team that you trust, love, and that you admire, that want the best for you and see your vision and can help you with your vision. So I'd say get a team. That's the lesson I had. I thought I could do everything by myself, the cockiness in me. I'd say that's one thing. I'd say always seek improvement from others. So always try to learn something from a mentor or someone that has done it, or that possibly can know more than you, because you don't want to be a hard head. And it hurt me in the past, doing different things from Millenial Park and electricity. And I thought I knew things. I didn't really know them, but of course you think you know them. And you're not trying to make it. Right. You fake it till you make it. So I was faking it till I make it. And I was, this person would say a quote I didn't like, or this person say, forget it. I don't even need you, or I'll do it myself, Yeah. So that's another one. I'd say, take advice from others and really learn from the people around you, because the people around you really could benefit you and you have no clue. So I'd say that lesson number 2. And lesson number 3, never get too high. In the sense of never think you're on top of the world. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
So, take every single day as just a new day to get better. And, starting off, you want to accomplish the world at first, and you want to do this and that. And you're looking at the future, and you're looking at this Lambo you want to drive, and you're looking at this house you want to get. But you have to tone it down. You got to go some steps back and take it one step at a time and see how you can really benefit from each one, and how that step can improve your next step, and how this step you can be better. And if you were to do it again, that step could be better. So always just, I'd say that's kind of step 3. Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. So what do you love most about Baton Rouge?
What do I love most about Baton Rouge? I love how different Baton Rouge is.
Elaborate.
That's what I love. Okay, so you go to different states, Houston. I've been to so many different states, but Houston, New York. New York's a very different state, right? But It's not Louisiana. So that's one thing, it's just one thing I love about Baton Rouge is just so different. The people here, very genuine, and they're straightforward, I'd say as well. People here are genuine, but they're very straightforward. They're not going to beat around the bush, and they're going to let you know it's real. So I'd say that's one thing I really love about Baton Rouge. And it's just so different. Like the food, the way people do things. Like you can't go boil crawfish in New York. Like I don't know what that is.
That's a fact.
You can't go, it is the support too. Like it's so funny because everywhere else, like every other state, they'll like all these other different teams. You come to Louisiana, it's LSU and it's Saints. It's not anywhere in between. It's like you like the LSU or you like the Saints. So I just love how like Louisiana is. And coming from Texas is a state where everyone wants you to know they're from Texas. I'm from Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas.
Everything's
and I was one
better
of those people as well. And then once you get back to Louisiana, you're like, this is unreal. This is something. He just came in from out of town. He's been here for 2 days. During the 2 days, you see more than you would in any other state for about a month. Like you can see some crazy things out here. And it's just every day for me with Baton Rouge is just honestly a treat because you never know what you're going to see and you never know who you're going to meet or what you could do.
That's right.
One day you could be riding a horse. Literally, you could be riding a horse and the next day you could be touring the state capitol on just like, or riding a bike downtown, go ride,
Oh yeah.
Shout out them. So it's just so many things you could do. But I just like how different Baton Rouge is truly. And I was born here. So coming back to where I was born.
Back to the roots.
Back to the roots and just like seeing that, like I'm like a young version of my family members in the past and just seeing like all their friends say, hey, you're like a younger version of your grandpa, this and that. And it's just cool. I just love how homey and genuine Louisiana is, and Baton Rouge especially. I love it here. I'm not going to lie. Hey. And it's funny because I actually, when I left school, I was actually going to go to Houston. I said I was going to open Millenial Park up in a year, move back to Houston. I'm going to be done with it. I never would live in Baton Rouge, but things have been going well, and I'm loving where I'm at, and I don't have any plans of leaving as of right now. Yeah.
Dude, I love it, man. So one final question for you is, what can I do to help you?
What can you do to help me? Come get some food. Let everybody
I can
know to
do
come
that.
get some
I
good
can
food.
do that.
Come get some food. That's it. Yeah.
Hey,
and just continue to support. That's all.
Dude, I will do what I can in that regard for sure, man. So thank you, Cam, for coming on.
Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it, man. I'm glad we finally made this thing happen.
Great show, man. I really appreciate you having me on. I loved it.
Dude,
we'll definitely have to have you on the Free Value podcast coming soon.
Bro, I'm all about going on different shows and talking with other people and learning different lessons. So hit me up anytime, man.
We'll get you on there. Appreciate you having me.
And for everybody listening or watching, thank y'all very much. I appreciate it. I know the guests do. If you haven't checked out Millenial Park, go check out Millenial Park. What is the address? What's the easiest way for them to find you?
Okay, so the address to Millenial Park is 3817 Florida Boulevard. 3817 Florida Boulevard, right across the street from Baton Rouge General. And you can find us on Instagram, Millenial Park, Millenial Park, and follow us there. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, everybody hit them up, get some food. They've got some great food, and stay tuned for their other portion of Millenial Park being built as we speak. So thank y'all so very much. I am Patty G with the Patty G Show, signing out. Y'all have a good one.